Do you ever finish reading a book or watching a video, feel like you understood everything, but then a few hours later, it's all gone? You try to explain it to a friend, and suddenly, you can't find the right words. It's frustrating, right? You're not alone. Many English learners and even native speakers face this challenge. But what if I told you there's a secret? A way to remember almost everything you read, study, or learn. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you'll have a powerful system to make knowledge stick, improve your English, and change your life. Welcome to English Journey, the channel dedicated to helping you grow personally while mastering English. I'm Celine, and every day, we bring you new videos designed to help you improve your English skills and enhance your life. If you're ready to unlock your brain's full potential and remember more of what you learn, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel right now. We'll be sharing some incredible, science-backed techniques, and I even have a short quiz for you at the end to test your understanding, so keep watching. How to remember everything you read, a journey to lasting knowledge. Have you ever wondered how some students seem to ace exams with seemingly half the effort, while others, despite hours of studying, struggle to recall information? The truth is, they're not studying harder, they're studying smarter. And today, we're going to unlock their secret. Most people believe that to remember more, you need to consume more information. So they try to read faster, watch lectures at triple speed, or binge listen to audiobooks. But that's not how true learning works. Imagine filling a glass with water, but the bottom has a big hole. No matter how much water you pour in, most of it will leak out. This is similar to how we often approach learning. We focus on pouring information in, the consumption period, but we neglect the crucial step of making it stay, the digestion period. The secret to remembering and applying information is less about what goes into your brain and much more about how much stays there. And that's where our system comes in. It's a two-stage process. First, consuming information, and second, digesting it. But before we dive into the how, let's ask a very important question. Is it even possible to remember everything you read? The short answer is no. And here's the bigger secret: trying to remember everything shouldn't be your goal in the first place. Let me tell you about a man named Kim Peek. His memory was so incredible that Hollywood made a movie about him. Kim Peek could memorize a book with perfect recall after reading it just once, able to write it out word for word, including every comma and full stop backward. He could even give you driving directions between any two cities in the world, mentally calculating the shortest distance. Kim's amazing abilities were due to a rare medical condition. Now, imagine you and Kim Peek were about to take the same exam. Who do you think would do better? It actually depends on the exam. Kim Peek struggled with reasoning and problem solving. So, if the exam was about simple memorization and recall, Kim would definitely win. But if it was a higher-level exam, requiring reasoning and problem-solving, you might actually have the advantage. For most of us, the whole point of reading and learning is to be able to use that knowledge to reason and solve problems. This means simply remembering facts isn't enough. But here's the good news. It is possible to remember everything you need to remember in a way that allows you to use that knowledge effectively. And that's what the system I'm about to teach you will help you achieve. Ready to discover this powerful system? It all starts with understanding that not all information is equal. I categorize information into 5 different types using the acronym PACER. Identifying which category the information belongs to is crucial, because for each category, there's a specific, targeted process that helps you manage and remember it more effectively. Using the wrong process makes learning much harder and less effective. It can even lead to that frustrating feeling of reading a whole page and not remembering a single thing. The system works like this. During the consumption period, you identify the category of information using the PACER acronym. Then, during the digestion period, you apply the targeted process for that category to store the information in your long-term memory. Let's break down PACER together. 1. P is for procedural. Procedural information tells you how something should be done or executed. Think about learning to code, how to speak a new language, or even how to listen to a heartbeat in medicine. These subjects are full of procedural knowledge. The key to mastering procedural information is practice. You want to apply this information in real life as early as possible. Many people read, memorize, and take notes, but then wait too long to practice, and by then, they've forgotten most of it. Instead, as soon as you learn a procedural skill, try to apply and practice it. But what if you don't have time to practice right away? This is a critical point. You either move on to something else, or you stop consuming and wait until you do have time to practice. Do not waste your time trying to just memorize it on the spot. Why? Because consumption and digestion must always be balanced. Learning only truly occurs when stage 1, consuming, is followed by stage 2, digesting. If you keep consuming more information without digesting it, it's like overeating. You'll just end up mentally vomiting it all up through forgetting. Studies show that people forget up to 90% of what they consume, even after hours of reading. So, instead of consuming more, it makes more sense to spend less time consuming and more time digesting and processing. This will significantly increase your retention. 2. A is for analogous. Analogous information is perhaps one of the easiest types of information to work with and remember. This is information that relates to something you already know, or it reminds you of something similar you've encountered before. For example, if you're a swimmer and you're learning about how muscles contract, you might think, hey, this reminds me of my swimming technique. By connecting this new information about muscle contraction to your existing knowledge of swimming, you've created an analogy. Analogies can also form within a topic itself, where patterns or concepts tend to repeat. So, during the consumption period, actively think about whether what you're reading is similar to something you already know. Once you identify it as potentially analogous information, the targeted process is to critique it. Critiquing means you critically examine how good that analogy actually is. Ask yourself, in what specific ways are these two things similar? In what ways are they different? Are there situations where this analogy doesn't make sense? If there are many differences or situations where the analogy breaks down, can you find a better one? Or can you extend or modify the existing one to make it more accurate? This critiquing process dramatically boosts your retention and understanding. Why? Because instead of just seeing new information as something unknown, you're extending it from your existing knowledge network, making connections right away. This is why creating analogies is a powerful tool for memory and understanding. Now you might be thinking, this sounds a bit forced, not very natural. And you're right. It's crucial to understand that this system isn't natural, and that's precisely why it works. Our brains have biological limitations to how much they can consume and store at once, and in our modern world, with so much information, it's easy to exceed that limit and feel overwhelmed. This structured approach helps you overcome those limitations. 3. C is for conceptual. If procedural information is the how-to, then conceptual information is the what. For most science subjects, the majority of what you need to learn is conceptual. This includes facts, explanations, theories, principles, and the relationships between different concepts. Often, you need both procedural and conceptual knowledge to solve problems effectively. For example, a medical student needs to know how to listen to a heart, procedural, and what they are listening for to diagnose a condition, conceptual. When you identify a piece of text as conceptual information, the process you want to use is mapping. Nonlinear, network-based note-taking, like mind mapping, is incredibly effective for conceptual knowledge because conceptual knowledge inherently exists in a network. Think about an expert in any field. Their knowledge isn't stored as a linear sequence of words. Instead, it's a highly connected network of information where they can start at any point and navigate to any other point. This is what allows them to solve complex problems. They see how concepts relate and connect. A beginner, however, often sees only separate concepts without understanding how they link together. As a learner, your job is not to memorize word for word, but to try and recreate that expert's network of knowledge. Mapping is a great technique because it forces you to think not just about individual facts, but how they connect to form a bigger picture. So, when you're consuming conceptual information, take out a piece of paper or a tablet and start drawing a map of what you're learning. As you read more, you add more to your map, reorganizing and expanding it. Remember, analogous information can also fit within conceptual information, so you might find opportunities to create analogies and add them to your map. And again, the same problem arises. What if you don't have time to draw a map while reading? The answer remains the same. Slow down and consume less. Balance is key. Otherwise, you'll end up overwhelmed, forget a lot, and simply create more work for yourself later. 4. E is for evidence. Evidence-type information helps make conceptual information more concrete. These are often detailed, sometimes technical, facts, statistics, or cases that serve as examples to prove a conceptual point. For instance, you might understand conceptually how World War I started, but you also need to know the evidence, specific dates, events, people, and locations to make that concept concrete. The key process for evidence-type information is store and rehearse. Store means you simply collect this information and note it down somewhere. You could add it to your conceptual map, a digital note-taking system like Notion or Obsidian, or even just a document. This should happen as soon as you identify it. Rehearse comes a little later. This means thinking about how you'll use this piece of information, what conceptual point it supports, and then challenging yourself by applying it. This could involve solving problems, writing detailed answers, creating explanations, teaching it to others, or writing essays where this evidence supports a wider concept. So, while you store the information as you consume it, the rehearsing happens later, perhaps at the end of the day or week. Do not waste time trying to memorize, reread, or write copious notes on evidence information during the consumption phase. That time is better spent on the first 3 types, P, A, and C, which form the foundation of your knowledge. 5. R is for reference. Reference-type information is the easiest to deal with. These are the very specific, detailed bits of information that don't really change your conceptual understanding. They aren't particularly important for understanding concepts, nor are they analogous or procedural. However, for some reason, you might need to know them later. This could be the exact value of a mathematical constant, a specific gene involved in a mutation, the name of a molecule, or a list of attributes for coding. The process for reference information is almost the same as for evidence, store and rehearse. The storing part is exactly the same, just put it in a second brain system or on flashcards. The rehearsing part is slightly different. Because reference information isn't conceptually important, it's hard to use it for problem solving or extended discussions. You'll likely use this information for direct factor call. This is where flashcards, especially with a spaced repetition system like Anki, become incredibly useful. So, as you're reading and you identify reference type information, immediately put it into your flashcards. Then, set aside 30 minutes each day, or whatever time works for you, to go through your flashcards and do your rehearsal. And again, please do not waste time trying to memorize or reread this information while you're consuming it. That time is precious and should be dedicated to the first 3 categories, which build the bulk of your knowledge. Wasting time on memorizing reference information during consumption is one of the biggest mistakes that will hurt your learning efficiency. As soon as you fall into the trap of rereading something trying to force it into your head, you can say goodbye to efficient learning. So, now you know the 5 types of information to identify during the consumption stage, pacer, and the appropriate targeted processes to digest that information in stage 2. The key to retaining a lot and building a high level of knowledge is to keep that stage 1, consumption, and stage 2, digestion, balanced. Beyond pacer, mastering your memory. But our journey doesn't end with pacer. There are even more powerful techniques that Japanese students have used for centuries to remember thousands of complicated characters and retain them for life. These are science-backed hacks that will help you learn smarter, not just harder. Many traditional study methods, like rereading notes or highlighting, feel productive, but your brain often treats them like background noise. Think about how many times you've highlighted a page only to go blank during an exam. This is because of something called the forgetting curve. Within 24 hours, your brain dumps almost everything, and by day 3, only a few traces remain. But you can hack your brain and break the cycle. Here are 5 additional science-backed hacks. 1. Active recall, the samurai approach to memory. Most people focus on input, reading, watching, highlighting. But memory truly strengthens through output. Think of it like training a muscle. Every time you force your brain to retrieve information, those mental connections get stronger. And every time you struggle to recall something, you're not failing. You're actually reinforcing those pathways. How do you do this? It's simple. After reading a section or watching a video, close your book or turn off the screen. Grab a blank sheet of paper and write down everything you remember about the topic. It will feel difficult at first, but that struggle is what creates stronger connections in your brain. This is much more effective than just rereading. 2. The Kumon method, learning in small, powerful steps. The Kumon method is a highly effective Japanese learning technique. Instead of overwhelming yourself with large amounts of information, you break your studies into small, manageable steps. This method encourages daily, bite-sized learning, reinforcing concepts gradually until they become second nature. Think of it like building a habit. Small, consistent improvements compound into remarkable results over time. Mastering a little every day, instead of cramming everything at once, builds stronger recall, deeper understanding, and lifelong learning habits without burnout. 3. Spaced repetition, the gardening technique for your brain. Imagine watering a plant just before it starts to wilt. Spaced repetition works the same way. You refresh memories just before they fade. Instead of reviewing everything at once, space it out over time. For example, day 1, learn it. Day 3, review it. Day 7, test yourself. Each time you revisit the information, your memory gets sharper and lasts longer. Japanese students don't wait until the night before the test. They use systematic review to keep knowledge fresh. The key is to review right before forgetting kicks in. This is why apps like Anki, which use spaced repetition, are so powerful for things like vocabulary or reference information. 4. Kaizen, 1% daily improvement. Instead of relying on last-minute cramming, Japanese students follow the Kaizen principle, continuous improvement through small, consistent steps. Even a 1% improvement every day compounds into massive progress over time. No burnout, no stress, just steady mastery. The best part? This can work in just 6 minutes a day. 2 minutes of active recall, 2 minutes of spaced repetition, 2 minutes of focused practice. In a month, you could be 30% better. 5. Shu Ha Ri, the art of focus mastery. Mastery isn't just about technique, it's about mindset. In Japan, students practice Shu Ha Ri, a state of deep focus where they become one with their task. To create this level of concentration, they use rituals that signal to the brain it's time to learn. Want to boost your focus? Try this. Create a dedicated study space. Remove distractions. Turn off notifications, put your phone in another room, and use a focus tool. Use the same pen or light a candle before studying. By turning learning into a ritual, your brain tags these moments as important, making retention easier. Our modern world is full of distractions. We're constantly bombarded with new information, leading to what some call information overload. Our brains love these tiny little nuggets of information from social media and email, giving us a dopamine hit. This is why we crave distraction. Our working memory, which is where we process information, has a very limited capacity, only about 2 to 4 slots. If we overload it, we get distracted, and our ability to process and retain information plummets. The fix? Eliminate multitasking, distractions, and information streams that cause overload. Our brains are designed to focus on one thing at a time. When we multitask, we're just quickly switching between tasks, and our brain struggles to commit anything to long-term memory. Every switch is like hitting a reset button, preventing deeper processing. So, create a focused environment. And allow your mind to wander sometimes. When your mind is less stimulated, it has more chances to come up with new ideas and plans. This is called scatter focus, and it's when some of our best ideas are formed. So, take a break from screens, take a walk, or even try a simple hobby like knitting to let your mind freely connect ideas. Recap: your path to super memory. You've learned so much today. Let's quickly recap the powerful strategies to remember everything you read. 1. Balance consumption and digestion. Don't just consume more. Make sure you process and digest the information. 2. Use the PACER system. Procedural. Practice it in real life. Analogous. Critique analogies by comparing similarities and differences. Conceptual. Map out concepts using mind maps to understand connections. Evidence. Store it quickly and rehearse by applying it later. Reference. Store it quickly, ideally on flashcards, and rehearse with spaced repetition for direct recall. 3. Active recall. Force your brain to retrieve information without looking at your notes. 4. Human method. Break down learning into small, daily steps. 5. Spaced repetition. Review information at increasing intervals to combat the forgetting curve. 6. Kaizen. 1% daily improvement focus on small, consistent progress. 7. Shu Ha Ri, focus mastery, create rituals and a distraction-free environment to achieve deep focus. 8. Minimize distractions and overload. Our working memory is limited. Focus on one thing at a time. 9. Allow for scatter focus, let your mind wander to generate new ideas and connections. Remember, learning shouldn't be a struggle. It should be smart and efficient. If you found these hacks helpful, please give this video a big thumbs up. and subscribe to English Journey for more tips on productivity, success, and mastering English. Quick quiz. Now, let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. No multiple choice options. Just think about the answers based on what you've learned. Question 1. What are the two distinct stages of reading or learning? Question 2. What does the P in PACER stand for, and what is the targeted process for this type of information? Question 3. Why is critiquing important when dealing with analogous information? Question 4. What note-taking technique is recommended for conceptual information? Question 5. What is the main difference between evidence and reference type information? Question 6. Besides PACER, name one other science-backed hack to improve memory mentioned in the story. Share your answers in the comments below. I'd love to see how much you've learned. And tell me, which of these strategies are you excited to try first on your English journey? Thank you so much for watching. By applying these powerful techniques, you're not just improving your memory. You're taking control of your learning, boosting your English skills, and empowering yourself for a brighter future. Keep practicing, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.